Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. The winner in Cebu City's mayoral race has been proclaimed, but the distant third candidate is not about yet to concede. The former Cebu City mayor seeks clarity in the alleged discrepancies in the midterm polls. A Supreme Court intervention temporarily stopped the Ombudsman's order to permanently disqualify him for public office or from public office due to nepotism and grave misconduct. Let's get on point with former Cebu City Mayor Michael Rama. Mayor Rama, good to see you again. Magandang gabi po sa'yo. And thank you so much for your time. All right.
I'm still until June 30, that's my term. And I usually call attention. I'm the duly elected mayor, not the former mayor.
Opo, of course, hanggang June 30.
Kaya nga eh.
Okay. So, tinawag ko po kayong mayor, pero may nakatalo po sa inyo. Itong si dating or si councilor Arquival, right?
I am not conceding.
Yeah, but he was already proclaimed. He is the mayor-elect right now.
But my term is until June 30.
Understandably, but he is mayor-elect. Pagka tinaas na po ang kamay, ay elect na po yun.
I do not have to argue on that.
Yeah. So he won by, he got 256,000 votes. Mayor Alvin Garcia, 176,000 votes, and you had 120,000 votes. You're saying you refuse to concede due to concerns and questions on the electoral process. What did you find out? What happened, sir?
Historically, Pinky, that's not my number. My number on the last election was already almost 300,000. And it is so abominable and ridiculous. As if, I don't know what happened, but precisely we're bringing matters to COMELEC. Because there are things that we never expected. We were fighting for a red, and we were green, and ended up the blue.
Can you expound further?
Our color, Partido Barog, Bagong Sugbo, is green. Then Kusog is red. Then the one who won, both of them, they carry the blue. And that's why it's just preposterous. Because optics will not lie. Figures will not lie. I don't even want to demean.
The figures will not lie on what, sir?
When you talk about the survey, I have here the survey. And
commissioned by whom?
We have our own survey. They have their own survey. And it always brings that our opponent is the red. Never that we were looking at the blue.
So sino ho ang sinasabing dun sa mga survey ninyo na talagang kalaban ninyo? Sino po sa kanilang dalawa?
Garcia.
Garcia. All right. Okay. And the survey, your survey, which you commissioned, I
have been into this whole rigmarole, Pinky, being in government. And we've been a Rama, who've been involved since 1916. Mm-hmm. And me, 33 years, all in service, but there was a 3 years interim, which I call it hiccups. And now I'm back in that hiccups.
So, are you telling me that you have concerns about the elections?
Yes.
Basically because the surveys, your surveys were saying that you were the likely winner?
Not only that.
Okay,
not
what
only
else?
That. Because if you look at, we are identified, I am identified with Sara Duterte. I am identified with PDP Laban being the vice president for the Visayas. And Cebu, right now, is a Duterte constituency. I do not want to elaborate until you probably go to the province. And that alone, Sara went to Cebu City, walked several occasions, went walking with us. And immeasurable. Yung tao, grabe. 2 hours,
Grabe sa kanya.
Yes, that's why it cannot be denied. Our meeting the Abansi, our mini rallies, then convergence we have in Rama compound. It will speak, I don't know if it's being shown, but it's there. That's why I usually call figures will never lie. Only liars cannot figure.
So you're basing your supposed win, sir, on the surveys.
Not only the survey.
That's
Data.
number one, survey
And
and,
the data.
Number two, that you're endorsed by VP Sara.
Yes.
What else, sir?
And we are with the Duterte.
Yeah.
And
Anything
Cebu
else?
City is with the Duterte. And as I said, that's why crying when I went to 13 barangays, they all asked me, Mayor, what happened? Yes, I know. And I have asked them question. We were fighting for the red, and we are the green. One. Number two, was there a massive vote buying? None. There was none. And they said, if there was vote buying, who were into vote buying? I don't want to be into bringing because I'm a lawyer, but this will be forming part, hopefully, in our protest.
What kind of legal standing would you have if you use the survey that you commissioned, the data that you have, and the endorsement of VP Sara to prove that you are the winner for the mayoral?
We are still, when we file this in due time, because this is not the first time. When I won in 2013, my mentor, the one who won that I'd never expected, Don Ontiveros, a sure winner to lose. You know Don, right?
Mm-hmm, I do.
Don Ontiveros to win. Now, you're talking about we're doing the preliminary. However, we will be asking COMELEC because we cannot be putting all of this in 10 days. But we are now going to be going to the bottom because I did my own personal. I was the one who went to all these 15 barangay or 30. So, and my findings really, because during the election, I myself stayed 1 hour in my polling place.
And then?
And that's the only time. It was my son already putting. The rest were complaining
Are
and
you
complaining.
basically talking about the ballot being fed to the ACM? Is that what you're saying?
There was even opening because cell phone inside or whatnot. So this is not only one. In all those barangays, I asked, okay, raise your hands. Those schools or precincts with problems on machine breaking up or not being operational. And almost all.
Can you give me numbers, sir?
I'm talking about 15 barangays that I've been at
15 barangays that all had problems.
that had problems.
All had problems. And you plan to, did you ask the COMELEC about this or the election officers there?
I'm now going into because asking the COMELEC, and we're going to matters on legalities. This is not new to me. Even BBM knows that because we were both in the same in 2016. We're on the same boat when he claims he became the vice president. And I was really fighting that I was the mayor in 2016.
If we were to compare your justification for not conceding to possibly other candidates who may have won in the survey, had problems with the automated counting machines, I mean, how does that come into play, sir? I mean, ang dami po nagsasabi, marami din po nagsasabi, di ba, ang kandidato either nanalo o natalo. Pero pag
Alam ko
sinabing
yan.
natalo, nadaya daw sila.
Hindi. Ako naman I'm a basketball player. Pag tama yung proseso, then look forward for another game. But if the game is I wish it's not being fixed. I wish that there is no fraud, but we're looking at, because even the national level is discussing about 18 millions overvotes. Then my IT now is trying to look at the whole thing. I am an IT.
What did your IT say to you? Ano po?
Kasi
Sasabihin niyo po dagdag? Yun ba sasabihin
it's
niya?
more of what he was saying and looking at it, parang mayroong dagdag bawas. Kaya
How? Papaano ho?
I
Because
don't want
there's
to be
talk about
explaining it
this.
me because I know how, but
There's talk about it, but it's loose talk.
technology.
Yeah.
Because in 2016, it's the same discussion. Eh. Kaya nga I was fighting, and I was telling the president, he was then fighting for his protest, together with my protest, that we go back, but do it something new, hybrid manual automation. Hybrid. So that's a long discussion.
Not just select.
Kasi nangyayari dito, Pinky, you run and you may have won very fast. And you run and you have been defeated very fast. That's how things were.
That's why it's automated.
That's why automated and Miro, it has been discussed. Saan ba sila? Where in the world that they have been tested? Number two, I was looking at the whole gamut, and I knew when it was presented that I'm a little bit worried because the matter about USB, the matter about security, I've heard about this before. That's why I said, let's now, kasi minsan kasi pag tapos ng eleksyon, tapos na. Let's fight for a reform.
All right. We need to take a very short break. This is On Point. We'll be right back. You're watching On Point, still with us, Attorney Michael Rama of Cebu City. Let's also say former mayor or suspended mayor.
Or
tama
duly
ba?
elected mayor, whose term will be up to June 30.
But you were suspended. By
Yeah,
the
I do not
Ombudsman.
deny.
Yeah, okay.
I do not
So kasi
deny.
kung suspended, baka po may magtaka dahil ang mayor, ang incumbent is Mayor Garcia. Di ba? Kayo po, ang mayor, na-suspend po kayo ng Ombudsman in 2024.
That's right.
Naging mayor po si Garcia at ngayon po, ang nanalo, ang mayor-elect nga
Mayor-elect.
is Arquival. Yes.
Yes.
As I've been saying a while ago. Sir, let's talk about this. So you're talking about tech issues. Yung
Yes.
tech issues ang
Yes.
sinasabi nyo, ang sinasabi ng IT nyo, may dagdag bawas. Tama po?
That's more of the initial, and they're still going to the bottom, and then all of this will be culled, and it will be
So
part.
they're looking into, siguro lahat
Yes.
ng bilangan, no?
Yes.
Okay, parang yung dati po. Nung
Dati, alam ko yan kasi this is not due to me.
Yeah. So what about itong tinatawag na, you talked about a disparity of votes between the North and South
Grabe.
districts. What exactly
Grabe.
do you mean by that?
In the North, walang nananalo sa amin. Wenjit? Wala.
What do you mean walang nananalo sa amin?
Vice Mayor,
You, the Vice
Congressman, lahat na 8 councilors wipe out. Isa lang barangay. That is highly inconceivable. Highly. Why? Because my candidates are barangay captains, councilors.
Incumbent.
Yes. They have their own bailiwicks. What happened? Number 2, in our own bailiwick of the Rama, Annabel Rama ran in the north, but our bailiwicks, imagine, I always go up and have convincing votes over there with my nephew running. Talagang focus kami doon sa South. Almost lahat. Buti na lang, yung pamangkin ko, trabaho ng trabaho, yung congressman si Edo. Saka yung anak ko, buti na lang hindi na-target. Ewan ko. Tapos, mayroon pang naiwan na 4. Yung talagang...
But if they were targeting you, for example, or your family, why would your son win and you lose?
I would not want to expand. You could imagine if my son will lose and my nephew will lose. Ang totoo lang, in my own analysis, even yung nephew ko, swerte, mayroon pa siyang naiwan. You know what I mean? Yeah. Tapos, yung anak ko naman, pag wala nang papasok dyan na Rama, sino bang maniniwala? Get
So
my point?
you're saying talagang sinadya na kayo ang targetin?
Ako ang target. At saka si Don develops. At saka yung, alam mo, Pinky, kami naman, sinasabi ko sa, we had a meeting yesterday, hindi naman kami for loser. Please, but show your optics. Where are your people? Kasi minsan ganun sige, padamihan tayo para lalabas yung mga tao, lalabas yung tao ko, lalabas yung tao ng kusog, para malaman ng tao. Kasi yung meeting di abansin namin, with the Governor Pam being there, in front of Capitol, oh my God, if you can see the optics, that's why I keep on telling, figures will never lie. Only liars cannot figure.
Can you explain if your governor won against the incumbent governor?
I like that question.
But you lost against the incumbent and against a councillor. How do you explain that? Kasi ibig ko sabihin lang, if common sense, if I was to follow common sense, kung nanalo pong yung governor, si Governor-elect Pam, dapat kayo din nanalo. Bakit ho siya nanalo, kayo natalo? Pareho po kayong partido, pareho po kayong PDP, pareho po kayong in-endorse ni VP Sara.
Iba yung province. Iba yung Cebu City.
Right.
I don't even want to be tinkering about the province. But if you wish, I can bring about how the entry of Pam, because Pam knows that. And document is here. Another TLC, Team Liberate Cebu, one Cebu Island. And we work, this would have not been a possibility if the governor did not intrude, because he intrude on the sovereignty, on the so-called autonomy of the city of Cebu. And I said, oh my God, what is coming? Lording over and seemingly wanting to control all one Cebu Island. Of course, I don't think me as a scion of the father of the city of Cebu, blood, Don Vicente Rama, I cannot just be watching it, that the invasion is so obvious.
What do you plan to do? What kind of legal action are you mulling?
All. If what is available, all. But now, I'm just glad you give me this opportunity, and nice to be here, actually.
But Mayor, I'll bring up the numbers again. Mayor-elect Arquival, 256,000. Incumbent Mayor Alvin Garcia, 176,000. Suspended Mayor Mike Rama, 120,000. I just need to highlight that this incumbent one, the incumbent Mayor Garcia, who was your former, tama ho ba, Vice Mayor, I don't think he is saying that there's been any cheating or any problems with the elections. In fact, I read an article where he said that 6 of his councilors will be working with the mayor-elect and they will not be obstructionists. So I take it that he doesn't think there was a problem with the elections, and he ranked number 2.
I cannot bring my mind in him. Number 2, we also have 6. That if there's no jettison. Why 6? 4, including my son. Then we have Franklin Ong, the one who ran, but came back as the ABC. And the Sangguniang Kabataan, Ria Acosalem, put them to be 6. And let him, I don't even call him the mayor. He was just the vice mayor, actually. I don't want to talk about it because
But
what is
he's
important
number
now
two.
is, now look, as I told you, the history
Okay.
of my being in political arena, that's not my number. I don't want to be telling maybe one of that is mine.
Okay. When do you plan to possibly start any legal
The
action
days to come.
against?
That's why I'm here. In the days to come, I'm here.
Do you have solid proof on maybe on the machines, on the automated counting machines, on the dagdag bawas that you had mentioned?
I'm telling you, it's not going to be me alone who will be talking about it. There are a lot in
Who
this
else?
country
Who
now.
feel they were cheated?
Of course,
Okay.
you know.
Sino po ang magiging kasama ninyo?
I
Can you
don't
give
want
us
to be.
names?
I don't want to be, but I know there will be. There will be because some are much shocked, astonished on some candidates who were sure to win, just like our group. How can you ever imagine one whole 8 plus 3 wipe out? Then only in the south, our own bailiwick, almost all wipe out.
And you are not of the impression, sir, that maybe the people wanted change?
No. Don is a young man. He can bring in impetus of youthfulness. Number 2, Congressman Eduardo Rama is a young man. Number 3, there are young candidates in the South. Much less, there are many young in the North. And I have young in heart. That's
Young
why I
at
keep
heart.
being young.
Before we end this interview, Mayor, I just wanted to get your thoughts on, what is the national political scene right now. You have President Bongbong Marcos offering his hand of reconciliation. Ayaw na niya ng kaaway. Marami raw siyang mga kaaway. What do you think of that?
I anticipated that. See, I was looking at 2028. What we need in this country is sobriety. And the right move, perhaps, but I do not know if it's a right strategy. Because some people are hurt.
So you agree with the president's move? Was it a good move?
It's a very good move, but there is always walk the talk. Walk the talk. Kasi pag sinabi mo, tapos it belies, then later on, there are many things that he could have done.
What should he do now that he has actually said he wants reconciliation? You're saying walk the talk.
I
How
don't
can
want to
he
be
walk the talk?
I'm not in his shoes. And
No, but
I
you
don't want
said
to be
walk the
telling
talk.
him because he knows ought to be. And I'm telling him he knows ought to be. And I'm waiting that he should be doing it. I cannot be telling him. It's not also fair because I've not been a president.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, I anticipated it.
Yeah.
And I anticipated
You anticipated that he would
should do
want
that.
to do this.
He should
that
do
he
that.
would do this.
Because the ground is so in the state of turmoil. If I'm speaking in this manner, then I represent the ground. And I call it Vox Populi Vox Dei. The voice of the people is the voice of God.
Yeah.
Greater good for the greater number. And I am the vice president of PDP Laban, 6, 7, and 8. Then after this whole, and I file my protest, days from now, we'll have a meeting at PDP Laban. Then I want to connect with Sarah to know what's up. Are you running or are you giving up? Because if she's running, then I will be fighting.
For her.
Of course.
And with her.
Of course, like I was with the father.
Yeah. All right. So we will see and await what kind of protest you will be doing,
Lodging.
lodging before What is it? Is it going to be before the COMELEC? Is
Before
it
the
gonna be
COMELEC.
Before the COMELEC. It starts there.
Yeah.
Maraming salamat po kay Mayor Michael Rama of Cebu City. Sir, good to see you again. Maraming salamat po
Of
sa
course,
inyong
and my
oras.
regards to your papa.
Thank you. I will say it. I had you on the show. Maraming salamat po. That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.